Hello students, once again I welcome you all in this new video where we are going to discuss another mode of reproduction, that is sexual reproduction. As you all are aware that we have started our second chapter, how do organisms reproduce, and we have finished the first portion of this chapter that was mainly based on the asexual mode of reproduction, where we have seen a single individual is able to produce new offsprings. So in that mode of reproduction we have seen various methods like budding, fragmentation, regeneration, spore formation, or we have seen that vegetative propagation in plants also. So now today we are going to discuss about the another mode of reproduction, that is known as sexual reproduction. So since it is a process of reproduction, it means the new organism is going to be produced, but the mode is what? Sexual. It means two individuals are required. Two individuals are required to produce offsprings, and since they are the individuals, so they are known as what? Parents. So we need two parents, and these two parents will be of opposite, or we can also call it means different sex. And we generally know that these two different or opposite sex are what? Male and female. So these two individuals are during the process of reproduction, the whole body is not going to involve in this process. Only few cells from the body that are going to take part in the reproduction process. So since these cells are from the opposite sex, so they are known as what? Sex cell. So the male are going to produce sex cell, that is known as sperm. In the same way, female also produce some specific cells which are known as sex cell of female, and these cells are known as what? Ovum. So these sex cells are otherwise also called as gametes. So when we talk about the male gamete, it means what? We are talking about the sperm, and when we talk about the female gamete, it is indicating that we are talking about the ovum. These gametes or the sperm and ovum are also known as what? Germ cells. And when they are going to fuse together, since this is a reproduction process where two individuals are required and both of the cells are going to fuse together, they will fuse together to form another cell, and this cell will be known as what? Zygote. So zygote is the first cell of life in the individuals which are produced through sexual reproduction. So these germ cells or sex cells are haploid in number. Haploid means they are having genetic material half in number, and this zygote is diploid in nature. Diploid means complete number of genetic material. So when we talk about human beings, as we are having what? 23 pairs of chromosomes, it means zygote is having what? 23 pair of chromosome, which are the genetic material, and we are talking about the human beings. And these sperm cell or ovum cells, since these are gametes and haploid in number, it means they are having what? Only 23 chromosome, not pair. So 23 chromosome in sperm and 23 chromosome in ovum. So that's why when both of them are going to fuse, the resulting cell will contain 23 pair of chromosome, and this zygote is going to make each and every cell of the body by a simple division that is known as mitosis division. So as we are aware that cells are going to produce new cells by cell division, and this division is going to occur mitotically, means mitosis division, where the chromosomes number will be exact. But when we talk about the formation of sperm and ovum, here the cell division will take place in the form of meiosis, and in meiosis always the resulting cell, the new cell, will contain half genetic material from the parent one. So this is the reason why each and every human being or each and every organism that is going to produce sexually, they are having equal number of chromosomes in their body. Now we will discuss what is the need of sexual reproduction, or why there is a need of sexual mode. As we have discussed earlier that in asexual reproduction, the offsprings are genetically identical to their parents. But here, as we are observing, the characters in the offspring are going to be coming from two individuals. So there is a possibility of variation. So this leads, or it helps in variation of offspring or characters in the offspring, and these various characteristics from their parents, they may provide a better chance of survival to the offspring. So this is the reason why this sexual mode is very important, because it helps in variation, and this variation provide a better chance for survival, as well as this variation is going to lead in evolution of new species. So these are the two reasons why we need sexual mode of reproduction, or why do organisms must reproduce through this sexual mode of reproduction, because always there is a variation in the offsprings, and these variation may lead for the better chances of survival to their offspring, and this also can lead for the evolution of new species. So now we will discuss what are the differences between sexual and asexual mode of reproduction. So now we will discuss about the differences between sexual and asexual reproduction. A number of differences are there. The first, that is very basic to the mode of reproduction, is what in asexual reproduction there is only single individual or single parent, single individual, or we can call it parent, so that is capable to produce offspring. And when we talk about the sexual, there is a need of two individuals or parent to produce the offspring. So that is the basic difference between sexual and asexual mode of reproduction. Now the another one that is very important also, that all the offsprings which are produced by asexual mode of reproduction, they all are offsprings are genetically identical to each other as well as their parent also, means all the new offspring will be identical, similar to each other, and as well as to their parent also. But when we talk about the sexual reproduction, the offsprings are genetically different, means here when we see about the offsprings, so here variation will take place, and the offsprings, if they are produced more than one in number, they will be different from each other, means they are having genetical characters of their own. But yes, definitely all the offsprings will possess some common features from both of the parents, means from the male side, from the female side, they are having some characters, and but they will be obviously genetically different from their parents as well as If many offsprings are going to produce, so they will be also different. When we talk about the next point, since here no gamete formation, no fertilization will take place, so no gamete formation, because in asexual reproduction they can produce their new offspring by their body parts also. So there is no any specific cells which are going to take part in the reproduction. So no gamete formation, no fertilization, and no meiosis division, only mitosis division will take place. But here when we talk about, so here gamete formation as well as fertilization will take place, and mitosis as well as meiosis division will take place. So mitosis division will form all the somatic cell, and this meiosis division will form what we call it either gametes or germ cell. But when we talk about here in asexual reproduction, so there is no gamete formation, so there is no need of meiosis division, because all the individuals will be of diploid. Because when we talk about the mitosis division, the new cells are also having the same number of chromosomes as the parents have. Now when we talk about the speciality of this reproduction, so it is not going to produce any variation, so it does not help in evolution of new species. So by asexual reproduction there is a chance of variation. Very rarely it may possible that due to the mutation, the sudden change in the genetic information, it may possible, but that is what very rarely. But when we talk about the sexual reproduction, it helps in evolution, as we have discussed earlier, that in this mode of reproduction the offsprings are having variation from their parents' genetic information. That's why it always helps in the evolution of new species. Now we will discuss about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants, that how flowers are going to help in the sexual mode of reproduction and what are their structures, means specific structures which are going to take part in reproduction. So that we will discuss in the next video. So when we talk about the sexual reproduction in flowering plants that are called angiosperms, the flowers are the reproductive organs which are having male and female parts, and that's why the flowers are considered as the reproductive part of the plant in angiosperms, especially which are the flowering plants. So here we will first see what are the structures that can be seen in flower. So this is a typical bisexual flower, means when we talk about the flowers, so flowers may be of two types on the basis of the presence of male and female part. So if the flower is having both male and female part within the same flower, that is known as what bisexual flower. And if the only male or female part is present in a flower, that is known as what unisexual. So here we are going to see a bisexual flower which is having both male and female part on it. So first of all, here when we talk about the base of the flower, that is known as what receptacle. So it is the part of the flower that is going to provide the base for all the other parts of the flower, and they are attached to this main structure that is known as receptacle. Now after this we can see the green colored part, that are known as sepal. So these sepals are the green structures present in the flower, and their function is to protect the flower during the bud condition, because these are hard structures, and after them the rest structures, they are very soft, and we can see the colorful part of the flower. So the colorful part of the flower is known as petal, and as the plants are not having any ability to perform locomotion, so they are having colorful parts in their flower just to attract insect, so that insect can come here and they can help in the transfer of their male gamete to the female part of the plant and the female gamete. So petals are the colorful parts of the flower which are going to help in the process of pollination. We will discuss about the pollination in the later video. Now two structures are present at the center of the flower. We are observing this structure. So this is the female part. This structure is known as what? Female part of the plant, that is known as either carpel or pistil. So this, the main structure center of the flower, that is known as what? Carpel, from upside to the downside, and the rest of these structures are known as what? Male part, or they are known as what? Stamens. So basically we are observing what? Receptacle, the base of the flower; sepals, the green structures which are going to protect the flower during the bud condition; petals, the colorful parts which are there present to attract the insects so that pollination can occur; and now carpel, the female part, and stamen, the male part. So basically these two structures are going to take part in reproduction, and these are known as what? Accessory organs in the flower. Now when we enlarge the stamens, we can see this is what? The structure of stamen. And it is the male part of a flower. So it consists of two distinct parts. The first one is known as anther. Downward is known as what? Filament. These anthers are, when we are going to cut them, we can see the sac-like structures, and they are having some small powdery structures inside them, which are known as what? Pollen grains. Pollen grains. So this is the male part of flower, that is known as stamen, consists of two different structures. The first one is sac-like structure, that is known as anther, and the tube-like structure, that is known as filament. This is what we are observing, the large structure, that is known as what? Carpel, or the female part. And we can see here distinct three regions. The upper portion of the carpel is known as what? Stigma. This middle tube-like structure is known as what? Style. And this lower structure is known as what? Ovary. Inside the ovary, you can see here a small structure that is known as ovule. So during the post-fertilization changes, this ovule is going to form, which is going to form formation of seed, responsible for formation of seed, and this ovary is responsible for the formation of fruit. So actually what is happening there, these pollen grains which are present inside the anther, they are going to reach here on the stigma, and when the pollen grains are going to reach here on stigma, this process is known as what? Pollination. And we will discuss about the pollination. There are types: cross pollination and self pollination. Fertilization process means what are the changes when the pollen grains are going to reach here, what they will do, and how the male gamete, that is the sperms, are going to fuse with the female gamete, that is ovum. And then after we will also discuss a specific feature of angiosperms, that is the double fertilization and triple fusion. After that we will discuss about the post-fertilization changes in the plants, how the formation of fruit and seed is going to take place after fertilization. So these are the topics that we have to discuss, but we will discuss all of these things in the next video. So till then, we are going to meet in the next video. Take care of yourself, be safe, and keep studying.